Hello, my name is Gene Faustin, and this tutorial is on virtual roll call installation and maintenance. This step in this tutorial requires the user to have root privileges on their server. This application can run on any web server, but the scope of this video will span over a Linux environment. A server is required to run the PHP or the HTML files. One recommendation will be the LAMP. The LAMP is a full Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP combined. The LAMP is an open source platform. It works on Linux operating system, uses the Apache web server, uses the MySQL relational database management system, and PHP, which is the object-oriented scripting language. We do have other candidates though, such as the WAMP, which is used for the Windows operating system, the MAMP for the Mac operating system, and the XAMPP, which can run on either Windows, Mac, or Linux operating systems. Now, after we have done getting our servers up and running, we now need to install the necessary software to help us run the application. And the first thing we will need to install will be the Apache. Now, the Apache is a free open source software which runs over 50% of the world's web servers. And to install the Apache, all we need to do from Linux is to open a terminal and run these lines. Second, we will need to install MySQL, which is a powerful database management system. In this application, we will need to access the Office's user accounts, the documents, the messages, the watch orders, and many other features. Therefore, getting a MySQL is very important, and that's the #1 tool. Now, after we have done installing the MySQL, we need to create our tables, because without that, it will be having an empty house without furniture. We need to create, in this example, VRCDB, which will be the database that will hold all the tables where we can run our queries upon. And then we will have to create a user. The user account would allow the application to connect securely to the database. And with this example, we have created the VRC_DB and another user, which is the test officer at localhost, which is the location where we are saving the files for now, and identified by, which is the password for that user. And once we are done creating the user, which will be test officer with password 123, we will need to grant on all the privileges, such as to read and write to the database. We will get back a little bit later on the rest of this video with the local host after we are done installing our PHP, which is the scripting language, which is mostly how we're going to interact and communicate with the database and to view our application. And to install the PHP, we will need to run this line of command in a terminal. Or there are many other ways to install it, but this one is the easiest way. Now, after installing the Apache, after installing MySQL and creating the database, after installing PHP, the very last important tool is to actually get the files to a server. We have to get the code, and this is provided through GitHub, and there is a URL, a link that is provided to the product owner of this project. So therefore, if you want to get the latest version of this application, you would need to pull a request from GitHub, which would allow you to get the necessary files and updates for this virtual roll call application, and at this point we are on 3.0. Now, to go back to the local host, after we are done installing the Apache and the MySQL and necessarily the PHP, and if we go to our application, we see that we have the login and the files are installed and we can actually view it. But we cannot really get into it because the database is not created yet. And if we open a new tab and if we type localhost, we will get ourselves into the PHP page, and on the right side get into the PHP my admin, which would allow us to create databases and any other operations that you can do on a database. And in order for us to create the necessary tables for VirtualRollCall, there will be a file, a .sql file that will be provided to you. So that way we don't have to create everything from scratch. All you will have to do after getting it from the GitHub is to use the import tab, and from there we choose the file, and in this case I already have the file downloaded on my computer, select it, and then we click choose. And once we're done with choosing the SQL file, we can go ahead and click go at the bottom, and this will create the database. For this particular instance, we have created the virtual_roll_call, which has populated and generated all the necessary tables and fields and primary indexes for the virtual local applications, will allow us from now on to get access to the application. In this case, so VirtualRollCall 3.0, user accounts, documents, and messages. And this is overall, in summary, the installation and maintenance for VirtualRollCall. Thank you once again. My name is Gene Faustin, and that was the installation and maintenance for VirtualRollCall Senior Project FIU 2017.